The first day of witness testimony just wrapping up in the murder conspiracy case against the so-called doomsday mom, Vallow Daybell, facing charges for her role in the death of her fourth husband, Charles Vallow.
Charles was shot and killed in Lori's Chandler residence back in 2019. Lori has already been convicted for killing her children, Tylee and JJ, in Idaho. 12 News journalist Erica Stapleton has been tracking this case for years, and she is joining us now outside the courtroom. Erica?
Hey, Caribe, Troy. You know, this case is captivating so many people. The courtroom was packed today. Not only was it family members of those impacted by this case in those first rows, just to show, you know, the reach this case has had and the impact it's had, but it was also filled with a ton of media and a ton of people, some people coming as far away as Australia. The other people in the room, those jurors, they looked attentive as they listened to opening statements from both Vallow Daybell and the prosecution. And let me tell you, they were two completely different stories. Let's start with the prosecution. They're saying that Vallow Daybell conspired with her brother to kill her husband, Charles Vallow, so that she could take his money and be with her current husband, Chad Daybell. Prosecutor Trina Kay told the jury that Lori and her brother twisted religion to justify the killing, pointing to Nephi's story in the Book of Mormon. On the day Charles died, he went to Lori's house to take their son, JJ, to school. She said Lori took Charles's phone to keep him inside the house so her brother could shoot him. The prosecutor said evidence showed her brother, Alex Cox, took 47 minutes to call 911, but that he and Lori had conversations during that time after Lori left the house with the kids. Cox, the prosecutor said, already staying at Lori's house and was prepared with a gun and extra magazines. The prosecutor was clear that Lori is the reason Charles is dead and that she teed up her brother to shoot Charles.
Alex called his sister Lori, and they talked for over 56 minutes, planning how they were going to get rid of Charles. Alex would stay close with his gun, and he and Lori would be like Nephi.
The evidence will show that at some point while I was running away from Charles, who was chasing me with a bat, that Alex apparently retrieved his gun. The evidence will show that I ran outside to the children and that Alex shot Charles in self-defense.
Now that Vallow Daybell representing herself, giving her opening statement, and her story is that she and Charles had 13 years of a happy marriage. Her daughter Tylee and Charles did not get along, she said, and things started worsening in 2019. She said that she and Charles were separated and living in different places when he went to pick JJ up for school that morning on July 11th. And she said that Charles started screaming at her and that Tylee came out to protect her mom with the bat. She said they fought over the bat and that Alex, her brother, stepped in to defend her and Tylee. And at one point, she teared up and paused to ask for a tissue. And, you know, this moment really stood out to me because we have not really seen that emotion from Vallow Daybell in any of her hearings, anything leading up to this. As we, you know, and I'll point out too that it was kind of chilling to hear her talk about her daughter Tylee because she's been convicted in Idaho of killing her daughter Tylee and her son JJ, who she and Charles adopted together. So chilling to hear her bring up her children in the way that she has. And it'll be interesting because the jury, they don't know about this history in Idaho at this point. They weren't supposed to know about this case when they sat down, and that's not something that's come up so far. So we'll see how this continues to unfold. And before I send it back to you guys, I'll give you the recap of who else testified today. The state has been calling witnesses. They've called 3 so far, all Chandler first responders, 2 police officers, and 1 firefighter. And they all were speaking to the demeanor of both Lori and her brother Alex on the day Charles was killed. They said they didn't really seem like they, you know, had just lost a family member, that Alex had just shot him, and Lori wasn't behaving in the way that, you know, a grieving wife might be behaving. So those were some key takeaways. And what's been interesting too is that Lori, who's representing herself, has had the opportunity to cross-examine all of these witnesses, and she's been doing so, asking a lot of questions. But there have been some tense moments too, because she's getting a lot of objections from the prosecution. The judge has to stop her and say, hey, you can't bring up hearsay, you can't do this. So certainly a lot of moving parts here, and of course the jury has to take this all in. So we'll continue tomorrow morning with that testimony from one of the Chandler firefighters. We're expecting Lori to continue with cross-examination.
I think a lot of us saw that video right after, you know, her husband was killed, and she was acting very strange. So we'll see exactly what happens there. Erica, nice work out there. You can watch the entire trial every single day exclusively on 12+. So what we're doing is we are airing it, streaming it, gavel to gavel every day. So download the app on your TV, watch it for free, and then after the day's courtroom action, we will air a daily recap at 8:30 p.m., analysis about what happened inside the court. So again, that's exclusively on our television streaming app, 12+.